Midnight, a psychiatric hospital in Manisa, Turkey. Screams pierce the silence. Security guards burst through the door of Ward E and freeze in their tracks. On the floor, a pool of blood spreads across the cold tiles. Standing over the body is a young man with the face of a teenager, a bloodied knife gripped in his hand. His victim lies motionless, throat slashed, abdomen torn open by 3 brutal stab wounds. The man on the floor is not just any patient. He is Ayhan Kartal, one of the most despised criminals in Turkish history, a child rapist, a child killer, a man the Turkish public called the Beast of Izmir. But the young man standing over his corpse is not a hero. He is not delivering justice. This is his 7th murder. He is 21 years old. 3 years before this night, he killed his own uncle. The system gave him a 2nd chance. He killed again, a 3rd chance. 3 more victims fell to his knife, a 4th chance. 2 prison guards murdered in broad daylight. Every single time the Turkish justice system released him, he returned with blood on his hands. This is the story of Ali Kaya, the man they called the baby-faced killer. 10 confirmed murders, 2 prison escapes, lists of future victims found in his pockets, and a system that created a monster by failing to stop him again and again and again. Ali Kaya was born in 1978 in Gaziantep, a city in southeastern Turkey near the Syrian border. The province was known for its traditional culture and tight-knit communities. Nothing in Ali's early childhood records suggested he would become a serial killer. No documented abuse, no early psychiatric red flags, just an ordinary boy in an ordinary family. But at 17 years old, Ali Kaya entered the criminal justice system. The charges were theft, assault, and robbery. Small-time crimes that filled youth detention centers, petty theft from shops, street fights with teenagers, minor robberies for small amounts of cash. To authorities, these looked like typical troubled youth behavior. They saw a boy who needed guidance, not a future murderer. But these crimes were not desperate acts of survival. They were rehearsals for something much darker. In 1997, at 19 years old, Ali completed his juvenile sentence and walked out free. The system believed it had corrected his behavior. He was given a chance to start over. That same year, he got a job at his uncle's real estate agency in Alanya, a popular Mediterranean resort town. Alanya was booming in the late 90s. European tourists flocked there. Hotels lined the beaches. Foreign investors bought properties. 37-year-old Selal Kaya ran a modest but successful real estate business. He was Ali's paternal uncle, family. He gave Ali a job without hesitation, taught him the business, introduced him to clients, paid him a reasonable wage. He was giving Ali structure, purpose, steady income, and a path forward. One day during business hours, without provocation or argument, Ali picked up a knife and attacked his uncle from behind. Multiple stab wounds to the back and torso. The attack was sudden and brutal. No fight beforehand, no heated exchange. Selal was sitting at his desk when his nephew murdered him. He died within minutes from massive blood loss. Ali made no attempt to flee. He stood there covered in blood, holding the weapon, waiting to be discovered. When police arrived, he offered no resistance and confessed immediately. When asked why he murdered his uncle, Ali had no clear answer, no motive, no explanation, just cold-blooded murder. Selal Kaya became the first victim. For killing his uncle, Ali was sentenced to 5 years in Silifke prison. But in 1999, after serving just 2 years, he was released on parole. He had shown good behavior, attended counseling, demonstrated remorse on paper. The parole board decided he deserved a second chance. A killer walked free after serving only 40% of his sentence. 1999. Ali Kaya was free. Only 2 years had passed since he murdered his uncle. He was 21 years old. The parole conditions were simple: report to an officer monthly, maintain employment, avoid criminal activity. Easy requirements for someone wanting to rehabilitate. But Ali did not look for work. He did not try to rebuild his life. Instead, he became consumed by obsession. Through twisted paranoid reasoning, he convinced himself that a man named Zeynel Abidin Gumus had raped his mother. There was no evidence. No police report existed. His mother never made such an accusation. No family members corroborated the story. Nothing but paranoid certainty. Whether Ali genuinely believed this or used it as justification, investigators could never determine. What is certain is what happened next. Ali began stalking Zeynel Abidin Gumus. For days he followed him, learning his routine, identifying patterns, determining when to strike. When the moment came, Ali attacked without warning. Multiple deep stab wounds. Gumus collapsed on the street and died at the scene from blood loss. Ali made no attempt to flee. He was arrested standing over the body, covered in blood, weapon in hand. This was his second murder in less than 2 years. After arrest, authorities placed him in Elazig prison, a larger facility with better security. Prison administration was deeply concerned. This was not a one-time killer. This was a repeat offender who violated parole by murdering again. Something was fundamentally wrong. Prison psychiatrists conducted evaluations and diagnosed Ali with a mental disorder involving delusional thinking and paranoid ideation. He was not simply a criminal choosing violence. He suffered from genuine mental illness driving his behavior. Based on this diagnosis, Ali was transferred from prison to a psychiatric facility for treatment. Turkey's mental health system in the late 1990s was deeply flawed. Psychiatric hospitals were overcrowded and underfunded. For a moment, it seemed the system understood what it was dealing with: a mentally ill killer needing indefinite containment. But then, something incredible happened. While in the facility, Ali obtained a medical certificate stating he suffered from claustrophobia, the fear of enclosed spaces. Based solely on this document, a mentally ill double murderer was released. Doctors determined it would be inhumane to keep someone with claustrophobia confined. There was no treatment plan, no outpatient therapy, no supervision, just a signature, and Ali walked free. Free again with an official psychiatric diagnosis, Ali Kaya returned to Alanya, where he killed his uncle. Over a period of weeks, he attacked 3 people with a knife. These were not random attacks. Each victim was selected. Each attack was planned. The first victim was a music hall owner known by the nickname Dado. His real name was never publicly released. Dado ran a small venue where musicians performed traditional music and tourists experienced local culture. He was well known, well liked, and had no connection to Ali beyond living in the same city. There was no dispute, no history, no motive. Ali stabbed him multiple times in the chest and abdomen, puncturing vital organs. Dado died from his injuries. The second victim was a local pimp who went by Mehmet from Agra. Unlike Dado, Mehmet operated in the criminal underworld. His murder demonstrated Ali's victims had nothing in common. A respectable business owner and a criminal pimp. No pattern, no connection. Mehmet also died from his wounds. The third victim was a man named Firat S. He survived but suffered permanent physical and psychological damage, multiple stab wounds to torso and arms, weeks in hospital recovering. When finally released, he refused to speak publicly about the attack. Ali was arrested and tried for attacking 3 people, 2 of whom died from their injuries. The evidence was overwhelming, multiple witnesses, forensic evidence linking him to all 3 crime scenes. His own confession, no question of guilt. But he was not sent to prison. His defense attorneys argued he could not be held fully responsible due to diagnosed mental illness. The court ordered psychiatric treatment instead of imprisonment. 3 victims, 2 dead, and Ali Kaya walked free once more. The system gave him a clear message. As long as he had that psychiatric diagnosis, he was untouchable. After the judicial system released him following the murders in Alanya, Ali Kaya made a decision. He would send a message. His next targets were Kemal Aksakal and Hasan Askaroglu, 2 guards from Alanya prison. These were men who had once been responsible for keeping him locked up, men who watched him, men who represented the system. Ali stalked them. He learned their schedules, knew when they finished work, what routes they took home, when they were most vulnerable. Then in broad daylight on a busy Alanya street, he attacked, both men with a knife. Kemal Aksakal was stabbed multiple times in the chest. Hasan Askaroglu suffered similar wounds. Both men died at the scene. Witnesses watched in horror as this baby-faced young man murdered 2 prison guards in the middle of the day. He made no attempt to flee. This was a public statement. The murder of 2 prison guards finally forced authorities to realize the magnitude of the problem. This was a dangerous serial killer who had learned to exploit weaknesses in the Turkish justice system. Someone who needed permanent removal from society. Ali Kaya was committed to Manisa Psychiatric Hospital with a formal diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. He was 21 years old and had killed 6 people. His uncle Selal, Zainel Abedin Gumus, 2 victims from his Alanya rampage, 2 prison guards, 6 murders in 4 years. Yet he was not in maximum security prison. He was in a psychiatric hospital. At Manisa, Ali was placed in a 17-bed ward in E Block. The hospital housed hundreds of patients by the year 2000. Many were violent offenders deemed not criminally responsible due to mental illness. Among patients in Ali's ward was Suleiman Aktas, known as the Nail Killer. But the most hated man in the hospital was another patient, someone everyone called the Beast. Ayhan Kartal was born in 1966 in Izmir, Turkey's 3rd largest city, under the surname Cornish. His childhood was marked by poverty, but nothing made him stand out as particularly dangerous. He grew into a young man with disturbing sexual urges he could not control. On April 20th, 1985, Ayhan Kartal raped and strangled 13-year-old Armagan Kayadipli in the Ikitçesmelik quarter of Kemeraltı district. The boy was walking home from school when Kartal grabbed him, dragged him into an alley, and murdered him. After arrest, Kartal was placed in Bakırköy Psychiatric Hospital in Istanbul. Founded in 1927, the hospital specialized in treating severe psychiatric disorders. Kartal underwent full psychiatric evaluation. He was diagnosed with pedophilic disorder and severe personality disturbances. He spent 1 year receiving treatment. After 1 year, the medical board determined he had shown sufficient improvement to be released under outpatient supervision. He even changed his surname from Cornish to Kartal, meaning eagle, attempting to start a new life and hide his past. The system gave him a second chance, believing psychiatric treatment had addressed the root causes of his violence. On September 23, 1989, 4 years after his first murder, Ayhan Kartal killed again. His victim was 9-year-old Baris Kurt from Şirinur district in Izmir. Kartal raped and murdered the boy, then hid in a wooden trunk in his house. When police tracked him down, he did not deny what he had done. During interrogation, he coldly confessed. He feels close to children and can only have sexual relations with children. No remorse, no understanding of the horror. Turkish society erupted in outrage. The murder of 2 children, 4 years apart, despite psychiatric treatment, demonstrated catastrophic system failure. The public demanded the death penalty for the Beast of Izmir. Newspapers ran front-page stories calling for execution. Families held press conferences demanding justice. But instead of execution, in 1992, Ayhan Kartal was transferred to Manisa Psychiatric Hospital for long-term treatment. The court determined he was not criminally responsible due to severe mental illness. On October 14, 1993, Kartal escaped during supervised outdoor activity. He was caught in Izmir 3 days later and returned under increased security. In the hospital, Kartal initially shared a room with serial killer Süleyman Aktas, the nail killer. Aktas was terrifying even among violent criminals. Kartal was so terrified of Aktas, he requested a transfer, fearing Aktas might kill him. The request was granted. Kartal was moved to a room with fewer patients considered less dangerous. He was placed with 21-year-old Ali Kaya and 32-year-old Tayfun Sahin. That decision was his death sentence. The night of March 13, 2000. In the 17-bed ward of E Block at Manisa Psychiatric Hospital, lights have been out for hours. Most patients sleep. Night staff makes rounds every 2 hours. Around midnight, the routine is shattered. Ali Kaya and Tayfun Sahin rise from their beds. They have fashioned crude knives from materials scavenged within the hospital, sharpened on concrete until edges became deadly. They move quietly through the darkened ward. They approach sleeping Ayhan Kartal. He does not hear them coming, does not wake until the first knife enters his body. 1 stab to the throat, severing major arteries. 3 stabs to the abdomen, puncturing vital organs. The Beast of Izmir wakes drowning in his own blood. He tries to scream, but his throat is cut. Tries to fight back, but strength fades. Within minutes, Ayhan Kartal is dead on the hospital floor. Guards burst into the room moments later, alerted by sounds of struggle and the smell of blood. They find Ali Kaya standing over the body, bloodied blade still in hand. He makes no attempt to resist, simply stands there, calm and composed. Tayfun Sahin is found nearby, also holding a weapon, also covered in blood. During interrogation, both were asked why they killed Kartal. Their answer was simple. They killed the child rapist because he did not deserve to live. They stated Kartal was a monster who destroyed innocent children's lives. They argued they delivered justice where the legal system failed. They showed no remorse. After this murder, Turkish media gave Ali a nickname that stuck forever: Bebek Yüzlü Katil, the baby-faced killer. Journalists were struck by the contrast: a young, innocent face and 7 corpses in 3 years. Television news showed his photograph next to victim images. The juxtaposition was jarring. In 2001, after extensive psychiatric evaluation and legal proceedings, Ali Kaya was transferred to Şanlıurfa prison in southeastern Turkey near the Syrian border. Şanlıurfa was designated maximum security, one of the most heavily guarded prisons in the country. In 2003, 2 years after transfer to Şanlıurfa prison, Ali Kaya escaped. The exact method has never been fully disclosed by Turkish authorities, but he walked out of the facility. A serial killer with 7 victims was on the loose. For almost a year, he successfully evaded justice. He moved from city to city, staying with friends, using false identities, avoiding detection. Turkish police conducted an intensive manhunt. His photograph was distributed to stations across the country. Roadblocks were set up, informants questioned, but Ali remained free. In 2004, his luck ran out. Police stopped a suspicious vehicle during routine traffic stop in Mamutlar village near Alanya. Behind the wheel sat a young man with a fake identity card in the name Erdal Yilmaz. The officer noticed something off about the ID. He requested a fingerprint check. Minutes later, the truth was revealed. Ali Kaya, one of Turkey's most wanted fugitives. During the search of the vehicle and Ali's belongings, police discovered something chilling, a long, detailed death list, written in careful handwriting on multiple notebook pages. It contained names of prominent businessmen from Alanya and Gaziantep, names of people who, according to Ali's notes, bullied him during childhood, former teachers, classmates, neighbors, acquaintances. Next to some names were addresses. Next to others were notes about daily routines. This was a blueprint for future murders. During interrogation, Ali spoke a sentence revealing his twisted perception. When asked about the death list, he stated, "He opposed his enemies and sinners. So far, he has not achieved success. However, he will cleanse society of bad people." 7 corpses, and in Ali's mind, he had not achieved success. He did not see himself as a murderer. In his distorted worldview, he was a vigilante cleansing the world of evil. After arrest with the death list, Ali was sent back to prison and remained incarcerated for years. But at some point between his recapture in 2004 and March 2012, Ali Kaya was released again. The circumstances of this release remain unclear in public records. While free during this period, he committed his 8th murder. The victim was Mehmet Poyraz, a man living in the Kaya family's parental home in Gaziantep. The exact nature of their relationship remains unclear. He may have been a tenant or a family friend. What is known is Ali stabbed him to death. The motive remains unclear. No apparent dispute, no provocation, just another murder. Ali was arrested again and returned to prison. But incredibly, in March 2012, he was released yet again. This time based on a medical report confirming his ongoing mental disorder and recommending outpatient treatment. The court accepted the recommendation. The system gave him another chance. Ali Kaya immediately used his freedom to hunt people who testified against him in court. Over the years, multiple witnesses gave statements to police and testimony in proceedings related to his crimes. Ali tracked them down, one by one. He systematically murdered them. 2 witnesses were stabbed to death in separate attacks. Each murder was brutal and efficient. Multiple stab wounds to vital organs, no hesitation, no mercy. 3 more witnesses were seriously injured but survived their attacks. 1 suffered permanent physical disabilities. Another was left with severe psychological trauma. By the end of 2012, the baby-faced killer had 10 confirmed murders spanning 15 years from 1997 to 2012. His uncle Kelal Kaya, Zainal Abidin Gumus, 2 victims from Alanya, Dedo, and Mehmet from Agra. 2 prison guards, Kemal Aksakal and Hasan Askaroglu. Child killer, Ayhan Kartal. Mehmet Poyraz. 2 court witnesses. After his killing spree in 2012, Ali was captured again. In November 2013, Turkish gendarmerie received intelligence about his location. A fierce shootout erupted when gendarmerie units attempted arrest. Eventually, special units succeeded in capturing 35-year-old Ali Kaya. He was placed in a prison in Gaziantep, his hometown. Authorities believe the case was finally closed. But on January 5, 2014, on Sunday morning at 10:30, visiting hours began at Gaziantep prison. This happened every week. Relatives visited incarcerated family members. Guards checked identification. Visitors passed through metal detectors. But somehow, Ali Kaya simply walked out of Gaziantep prison with a crowd of visitors. He may have obtained visitor clothing, stolen an ID card, had help from outside. The exact method has never been explained. His disappearance was not noticed until evening during routine physical prisoner count. By then, he had a 7-hour head start. Police and gendarmerie launched a massive operation involving hundreds of officers. 36-year-old Ali Kaya was classified as extremely dangerous. Investigators determined he was heading south toward Mersin and Adana. His destination appeared to be the Syrian border. In January 2014, Syria was engulfed in civil war. The country was in chaos. For someone like Ali, Syria was the perfect place to disappear. But special gendarmerie intelligence units received crucial information. Informants reported Ali had not fled to Syria. He doubled back and returned to Gaziantep, hiding in a friend's house. On March 3, 2014, almost 2 months after escape, the house was surrounded by heavily armed gendarmerie special operations forces. Realizing he was trapped, Ali tried to flee. A brief confrontation ensued. Surrounded by elite tactical officers, he had no chance. He was captured in downtown Gaziantep. During the search, police found a loaded pistol and another death list containing exactly 10 names. Detailed notes about daily routines, when they left for work, routes they took, when they were most vulnerable. He planned to kill everyone before crossing the Syrian border. He had already killed 10 victims. He planned 10 more. 20 corpses was the goal. After arrest in March 2014, Ali Kaya was returned to prison under the strictest psychiatric supervision. This time, authorities took unprecedented measures to prevent a third escape. He was placed in a special psychiatric unit, under 24-hour surveillance, cell monitored by cameras, movements restricted. The system had finally recognized this was not someone who could ever be safely released. The story of Ali Kaya is not simply 10 murders by one disturbed individual. It is a document of comprehensive systemic failure. After the first murder in 1997, parole after serving just 2 years. After the second murder, release based solely on a claustrophobia certificate. After murders in Alanya, release due to psychiatric diagnosis with no treatment plan. After murdering 2 prison guards, psychiatric hospital where he murdered again. After the 8th murder, released in March 2012, then murdered 2 more witnesses. After 10 murders, he escaped from prison twice. Ali Kaya remains one of Turkey's youngest and most prolific serial killers. At 19 years old, his first murder. By 22, 7 people dead. By 34, 10 lives taken. 2 successful prison escapes, multiple death lists containing names of intended future victims. His nickname perfectly captured the paradox. A young, innocent face concealed the mind of a cold-blooded killer. People could not believe this young man had stabbed 10 people to death. The story raises fundamental questions Turkish society has not adequately answered. How many deaths could have been prevented? Most of them. If Ali served his full sentence for killing his uncle, Gumus might be alive. If properly treated after the second murder, everyone after would survive. If permanently imprisoned after murdering 2 guards, Kartal, Poyraz, and 2 witnesses would never have become victims. Why was a mentally ill killer released repeatedly? Inadequate mental health laws, overcrowded facilities, legal leniency for defendants with diagnosed mental illnesses, bureaucratic failures. Turkey's mental health law was still in proposal stage during most of Ali's killing spree. Psychiatric commitments were handled through a patchwork of regulations varying case by case. Could the system have stopped him? Absolutely. Should it have? Beyond any doubt. But it did not. And 10 people paid with their lives. These were human beings with families who loved them, friends who mourned them, futures that were stolen. One thing is certain, every single time Ali Kaya was given a chance, he turned it into murder. And every time, the system gave him a new chance despite the growing list of corpses. This is the story of Ali Kaya, the baby-faced killer. A monster created by a system that refused to act when action was needed, that put procedures ahead of public safety, and that failed to protect innocent people until it was far too late.